Coming up here on Mountain News this morning, in a touching ceremony in one Eastern Kentucky city, local state troopers impacted by July's flooding receive a gift from to help them recover. And we have a warning for everyone affected by flooding involving people who might try to take advantage of the destruction here in our region.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. It's finally Friday. I'm Dakota Makris. It's almost 5 o'clock here. Thanks for waking up with us. And let's head over to Letcher County, where we find our Brandon Robinson this morning, live from his comfortable home there. And Brandon, I believe there's, a freeze watch in effect this morning?
It's for tomorrow night going into Sunday morning.
Here I am telling a fib.
So it's, well, you had it right there.
Yeah.
There is a freeze watch in effect, and I believe there's also a frost advisory in effect for the same time period from 2 a.m. Saturday night through 9 a.m. Sunday. So it's going to get cold. We'll talk about how cold, and we'll talk about the counties impacted by that freeze watch here in just a minute. But this morning, our main concern is some fog, and you'll see that across parts of the region here just after 5 o'clock. And you'll see zero visibility down toward Middlesboro and Jacksboro, 1 mile of visibility at Somerset and Harlem. But again, I'm sure we'll stumble across some other fog on some of our cameras as we take our tour a little bit later on this morning. The good news is not as cold as yesterday. No 30s yet. 41 Jonesville, 41 Clintwood. Do expect those folks in Southwest Virginia to potentially drop into the 30s at some point this morning. But 53, a tie there. Jackson and Prestonsburg for the warmest spot. Pikeville and Logan right behind them at 52. Everybody else, except for Moorhead, is in the 40s this morning. Coffee forecast, a little extra to max warming needed there as you head out the door this morning. It's not going to be as chilly, but we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds today. Sun first, maybe a few more clouds this afternoon, but dry conditions all day. Those cold fronts, yes, I said fronts, are still passing through. I'll show those to you in just a few minutes. Dakota.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, we start this morning with some sad news out of Breathitt County. The family of one of the missing flood victims says a body found near Clay Hole is that of 29-year-old Nancy Cundiff. Her body was found along the bank of Troublesome Creek on Saturday. It couldn't be identified at that time. Her body was taken to the medical examiner's office for identification, where it was compared against DNA samples of family members and dental records of both Cundiff and 60-year-old Vanessa Baker, who has also been missing since the flooding in late July. Baker is still missing, and the death toll from the flood is now at 41. During the flooding, several state troopers with KSP Post 13 at Hazard were devastated, with some losing their homes. But yesterday in Whitesburg, members of KSP Post 13 and the local VFW gathered to present those officers with checks. Whitesburg VFW Commander Jay Perkins, who is a state trooper himself, helped raise the money.
Several counties, several troopers out of the Hazard Post just decimated by the flood, and us being veterans and me being the commander here and also with the state police is near to my heart. And we've come up with some money.
Around $18,000 was raised and donated to the affected officers. The ARH Flood Relief Distribution Center is closing its doors to the public. It's at the old JCPenney building here at Hazard. ARH leaders say they are shifting the center into its next phase, becoming a warehouse for furniture and other needs, along with working with charities and government organizations.
As we started out, we knew that there was going to be a great need, but had no idea the extent of everything is going to be and the number of people that were impacted. I mean, it's just recently we started getting the real numbers of how many people have truly been impacted. There's like 17,000 FEMA applications so far in the region.
The center is still open today from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Knott County officials are warning people about scams relating to flood relief. Since the flooding, thousands have flocked into the area with good intentions, but officials say to be cautious of people asking for money up front. Knott County Attorney Tim Bates says the office is looking for the people committing fraud.
Our office has received complaints on some out-of-county contractors that are trying to take advantage of the situation in regard to the flood damage repair.
Bates says anyone who thinks they might have been scammed should report it to police. Governor Andy Beshear gave an update Thursday on debris removal here in Eastern Kentucky. Crews have now collected more than 130,000 tons of debris from the roads. On the waterways, more than 158,000 tons have been removed, and crews have been working on the waterways for a bit more than 1 month now. Debris removal will continue until it's all cleared. It appears U.S. Senator Rand Paul has no plans to debate his challenger, Charles Booker, ahead of Election Day. Here's what the senator said about a debate yesterday.
You know, our concern is that the Booker campaign is advocating, both mocking and celebrating violence, and I don't think it's a good idea to sort of encourage that. So we're probably not going to interact with him in person because of his advocacy for violence.
Booker has repeatedly pushed for debates and denies that his campaign condones violence. This will mark the first time since the 1990s that there won't be a U.S. Senate debate here in Kentucky. 3 Jewish mothers in Louisville are taking Kentucky's abortion ban to court. The lawsuit claims abortion laws oppose Jewish teachings on pregnancy. Unlike Kentucky's law, Jewish law does not believe human life begins at conception. The suit, on behalf of Lisa Sobel, Jessica Cobb, and Sarah Barron, was filed against Attorney General Daniel Cameron and Attorney Thomas Wine. Their complaint says Kentucky law contradicts their religious rights when it comes to the use of reproductive medicine in vitro fertilization, or IVF.
Now my greatest fear is that I become pregnant and I go to a scan and they say, your baby's incompatible with life and we can't help you. Because that's the reality right now in our state.
Kentucky Supreme Court will hear arguments on November 15th in Frankfort. That's 1 week after voters will weigh in on the constitutional amendment regarding abortion in the state. There will soon be a new place for people in our region to seek some quality dental care. Officials with Big Sandy Community and Technical College say they are opening a state-of-the-art community dental clinic on its Mayo campus in Paintsville. The ribbon cutting ceremony is at 10 o'clock this morning. Well, thank you so much for getting your Friday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we come back, images from the James Webb Telescope get a bit of a psychedelic makeover. We'll have more on the cosmic photos in just a few minutes.
Kind of can't wait to see those, but on the weather side of things, it's going to get cold. How cold? Freeze watch in effect tomorrow night going into Sunday morning. I'll tell you all about the weekend coming up.